So you are planning a move abroad, but one of the things that you're a little concerned about is the cultural differences and acclimating to them. Well, stay tuned because in this video, I'm going to share with you 7 things you can do where you are right now before you make your move so that that acclimatization process is smooth. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Patricia Brooks, and I am an American expat living in the south of France. I am also the author of 2 books, soon to be 3, and I help women who are ready to start the next chapters of their lives living and thriving in a country they've dreamed of for years. And on my channel, I talk about life in France, moving abroad, and finding the confidence and courage to live life on your terms. So if that sounds like something that sparks your interest, be sure to subscribe and click that notification bell because I do live streams. And so you'll be notified, be the first to know that I am going live. All right. So what are the 7 things that you can do where you are right now before you make a move abroad so that you can acclimate better once you are finally living in your dream country? Well, the first thing that you can do is to study the history of the country. This is not something I did. I am really getting up to speed with French history right now, and it is a game changer. It feels really good to kind of understand, how this country came to be. But this is important to do beforehand because if you have insights into the wars that were fought and what the wars were fought over and how those wars were resolved and what came out of those wars, you can get a better sense of the people in the country you're going to. Here in France, the French love to protest, right? They have the right to peaceably assemble and protest. And it seems like every day there's a strike that is congesting the railways or roadways. And as a foreigner, it can seem extreme and very frustrating if you're trying to get around. But why is that? Well, that comes out of the French Revolution, where the Declaration of Rights of Man and a Citizen say that there's a right to resist oppression and to have free speech, which results in this ability to peaceably assemble. And they take this right very seriously. So while knowing that doesn't necessarily eliminate the frustrations you might have once you're living here and you're exposed to the ramifications of these protests, at least you can appreciate that the French are exercising their right. And I think that is a great thing. So knowing the country's history can help you to understand the people a little bit better and feel like things are less foreign to you. All right. So that's number 1. Number 2 is right where you are right now. You can start getting good, building skill at meeting people, making acquaintances, and making friends. Yes. Even though you don't plan to stay where you are, making friends where you are now can help you to acclimate better when you're living abroad. Why do I say that? A lot of us are out of practice in making friends. Maybe we made friends when we were in school and in college or university. But then as we got older, we stopped making friends. It became harder to make friends. So when you move to a new place, be it a new place in the country you're living in now or a new country, it can feel really hard to make inroads and meet people and make friends. And if you don't have that skill, if you haven't done it for years, it's going to feel hard. It's going to feel intimidating, and you probably don't want to do it, right? And so then you can find yourself feeling isolated. But if you start building that skill where you are now in a country that you feel comfortable in and you know how things work, then once you make your move to your new country, you are ahead of the game and you can just use those skills and put it into practice, putting yourself out there. And I know as somebody who has introvert tendencies, this was something I would have to do and did, but it would have been so much easier had I already gotten started doing that while I was in Richmond. All right, so that's the second thing. The third thing you want to do is to start building connections with organizations that are in your target country while you are in your current country. I did this with Weight Watchers. I did this with Heartfulness meditation centers. There's one in Richmond. There was one in Perpignan. And so before my scouting trips, I reached out to the Heartfulness meditation center saying, hey, I'm going to be coming. I'd like to attend. When do you have sessions? And so in that way, I came. I said, oh, yes, I'm the person who's from the United States. I had spoke to you. And I started to build a connection so that when I got to Perpignan, I went back to the meditation center. They knew me. They're like, oh, welcome. Congratulations on your move. It felt good to already know somebody here. Weight Watchers was the same thing. So organizations like that, or Toastmasters International, if you're in a bigger city, they definitely have branches there. And that's something that is really good to do. In addition, you can go on Facebook, to Facebook groups of people who have already moved to the country you want to move to, and put it out there saying that I'm planning on moving to this specific city. I'd like to start to meet people who are already living there and get the conversation going so that when you land, you have some acquaintances already and you don't feel so isolated. All right. So that's tip number 3. Tip number 4 is to learn the language. Get a good, solid base of the language. Moving abroad, one of the hardest parts of moving to a country that speaks a different language from yours is the language barrier. Now, everything is 10 times harder to do in a foreign country. And if the language is a barrier, it makes it even more so. So if you have that base of language that gives you a little bit of sense of ease that you will be able to communicate, it might not be as pretty as you would like it to sound, but that you'll be able to get your point across, and that can reduce the stress level a big time. I know that for me, when I moved to France, I had to, before I'd go to the store and I needed to request something specific or go to an appointment, I prepared in advance. Well, what's the word for this? How would I say that? And being able to already speak French a little bit helped me with that. Now, I don't necessarily do that, although sometimes in some situations I probably could benefit from that, but I feel pretty comfortable with the language, and so I don't. But definitely having a good base of language helps you to acclimate and feel a little bit more at ease, especially when you're first arriving. Number 5 has to do with language as well. As you're learning a language, finding a language exchange partner who is already living in the country that you are planning to move to can be a great way to not only improve your language skills, but also to get some insight into a country's culture and why they do the things they do the way they do them, or that they do things differently from the way that they do them in your country. I know starting out, it might be hard to find a language exchange partner and have the kinds of conversations that will give you that insight. But if your level is a little bit more advanced, then this is a great way to do that. I still have one language exchange partner who lives in Normandy, and I actually got to meet her last year. But on our conversation this week, she was schooling me about French unions because the system is very different from the way it is in the United States. And I was interested because a French viewer, had commented on one of my videos where I was talking about somebody who was a waitress who only got paid a certain amount, which wasn't minimum wage, plus tips. And the comment was, oh, well, she should join a union. And I thought, yeah, well, that's nice. It's easier said than done in the United States. So she schooled me on that. I said, what if I were, working at a company? Would I have the right to join a union? Which union would I have to join? All of that. And it was so interesting. So having conversations with a language exchange partner from your country can help to clarify certain things, help you to see how they see things. And it's a great exchange. And it's somebody who you might meet once you are living in your new country. Number 6. So watching TV shows and newscasts and films of the country or from the country that you're moving to can help you see and understand a little bit better what the people there are like, what they find amusing, what's important to them. And if you are planning to move to France and would like to watch French programming, French Channel is the thing for you. They are the #1 streaming platform for all things French. They have the largest library of French TV shows and series and movies and documentaries and international news that help you to learn about the culture and help you with the language, because it's accessible to an English-speaking audience with English or French subtitles. So it's well done. The programming is high quality, and I recommend it. And if that interests you, the folks at France Channel have given me a promo code. Patricia 15 will give you 15% off an annual or monthly membership. So if that interests you, be sure to check out the link in the description. And finally, number 7, read books about cultural differences. Now, there's a caveat with this. As you read the books, as you absorb the information, be sure not to make these stereotypes and be sure not to feel judgmental when you read about them, because maybe you'll experience those or maybe you won't. But having a sense of what things you might experience or what things might be different takes down this blind spot that you might have, where you might have a faux pas or you might just feel very, very uncomfortable. One book I read 3 years into my life in France was The Bonjour Effect. And I wish I'd read it sooner, because it made me say, oh, now I understand. That's why they do that. And it really gave me some clarification. Another book you might want to check out is Culture Map, The Culture Map. And that is about lots of different cultures and how they differ from one another. It's a really solid book as well. So those are 7 things you can do right now before you make a move abroad that will help you acclimate to your new country sooner. Now, doing this is only one thing you have to do to prepare to make a move abroad. There are things you need to close out in your old country, things you need to set up in your new country. And if you're interested in having a checklist of the things you need to be considering before you make your move abroad and take care of before you make a move abroad, then check out the checklist, 14 things to do while you wait to move abroad, that I am going to put in the description as well. So which one of these are you committing to doing? Let me know in the comments. All right. Hopefully you found this video helpful, insightful. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, subscribe, and I will see you again next time. Bye for now.